a multi-facility hospital had several patients coming in. So let us do their case studies. This man came to the doctor because he was feeling very weak of late. He was dizzy. So the doctor asked him to get a blood test done. His blood test revealed that he has less insulin in his body, and this condition is known as diabetes. Now, what is insulin? Where insulin is a hormone which is secreted by this J-shaped organ known as the pancreas. Now, the main function of insulin is to reduce the blood glucose. Now, less amount of insulin during diabetes would mean more amount of glucose in the blood and less amount of glucose in the cells. So the cells cannot utilize much of glucose, so they cannot perform their cellular activities. So insulin reduces blood glucose level. Can it reduce it to 0? No, it cannot. And this is possible because of another hormone known as glucagon, which is again secreted by this J-shaped organ known as the pancreas. The main function of glucagon is to increase the blood glucose level. So insulin and glucagon works antagonistically but together to maintain a normal blood glucose range, and that is 70 to 100 milligrams per deciliter. This woman came to the doctor because she had a swelling in her neck. After doing several tests, the doctors confirmed that she has goiter. Now, goiter is a condition when the thyroid gland present in the neck region malfunctions. This thyroid gland secretes thyroxine normally in a healthy person, but in a patient who's suffering from goiter, his or her thyroid gland secretes less amount of thyroxine and it swells. So since the thyroid gland swells, in return, the throat area swells as well. Now, the main function of thyroxine is to enhance the basic metabolic rate. Now, basic metabolic rate is the rate of cellular activities which produces energy even during the rest conditions. So, less amount of thyroxine would mean less BMR or basic metabolic rate, and that is why a person tends to feel very fatigued and sluggish. Now, hyposecretion of thyroxine or less secretion of thyroxine does not only cause goiter, but it causes other diseases such as cretinism in children that is characterized by mental retardation and also dwarfism, and myxedema in adults, symptoms of which are puffiness of face or swelling of face and hands and fatigue. Now, over-secretion of this hormone would mean more basic metabolic rate, and that leads to a disease known as exophthalmic goiter when the eye protrudes out, and also the heartbeat increases and there is shortness of breath. This girl was a part of a political party which had fasted for 9 days. Yes, she was very weak, she was fainting very often, but she did survive without food for 9 days. Now, do you know how she survived? Well, this is because of the presence of this hormone in the body known as glucocorticoid, which is secreted by the adrenal cortex. That is the outer portion of the adrenal gland, which is situated above the kidneys. Now, glucocorticoid converts other cellular molecules such as proteins and fats into glucose when the reserves of glucose in the body gets depleted. Another hormone secreted by the adrenal cortex is mineralocorticoid, and this mineralocorticoid retains sodium ion and excretes potassium ion. Now, decreased amount of these hormones, glucocorticoid and mineralocorticoid, causes a disease known as Addison's disease, which is characterized by pigmentation in the hands, face, and the neck, and increased amount of these hormones in the body lead to Cushing's syndrome when the face becomes moon-shaped, and there is also mental retardation. This was about the adrenal cortex, or the outer part of the adrenal gland. Now, the inner part of the adrenal gland, known as the adrenal medulla, secretes a hormone known as adrenaline, which prepares the body for a fight or a flight condition. And this it does by a sudden surge in the metabolism. Now, all these endocrine glands and their secretion of hormones is regulated by this master gland, which is known as the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is located in the brain. It has two lobes, the anterior lobe and the posterior lobe. Now, the anterior lobe secretes three hormones known as growth hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone, and adrenocorticotropic hormone. Now, all these three hormones are known as tropic hormones because it stimulates these endocrine glands to secrete its hormone. Now, over-secretion of growth hormone causes gigantism and acromegaly, whereas hypo or under-secretion of growth hormone causes dwarfism in a person. This was the anterior lobe. Now, the posterior lobe of the pituitary secretes two hormones known as oxytocin, which helps in childbirth, and antidiuretic hormone, which helps maintain a water balance in the body. It regulates the amount of urine excretion from the body, thus maintaining a balance of water in the body. Now, let us summarize all the endocrine glands. Well, the master gland that is present in the brain is known as the pituitary gland, which has two lobes. The anterior lobe secretes the tropic hormones, that is growth hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone, and the adrenocorticotropic hormone, which triggers cellular activity such as growth. The posterior lobe secretes oxytocin and antidiuretic hormone that causes childbirth. And the antidiuretic hormone maintains the water balance in the body by regulating the amount of urine excretion. Pancreas secretes two hormones, insulin and glucagon, which works together and antagonistically to maintain a normal blood glucose range. Thyroid gland present in the neck region secretes a hormone known as thyroxine, which enhances the basic metabolic rate. The adrenal gland has two parts, the adrenal medulla and the adrenal cortex. The adrenal medulla secretes adrenaline, which prepares the body for a fight or a flight condition by causing a sudden surge in the metabolism. And the adrenal cortex secretes two hormones, glucocorticoid and mineralocorticoid, where glucocorticoid converts molecules such as fats and proteins into glucose when the glucose reserves in the body are depleted. And finally, the mineralocorticoid retains sodium ions and excretes excess of potassium ions for the body. So the hormones controls and coordinates different activities in the body.